right, so we're back. And we usually do these on Wednesdays, but we're trying out different days, and here we are, find ourselves on a Sunday, right? So Sunday streaming. I think we attempted this a little while back, but here we are. What's the question? Go for it. So we're just doing the vertical stream. We were trying to do both. I think this is probably a little bit easier on the system. Yeah, you should. Yeah, large live. Yeah, you should have mod permits right now. Get that. Yeah, you could put people on timeout. Yeah, there we go. Should have a run thread by your name now. I thought that was taken care of. My apologies, but we got a little bit of show for you today. So Marissa, Dre, welcome to the chat. Glad you guys are here. As usual, people that show up every week, I appreciate you guys. So we saw the rounds, right? You saw Aisha Diaz's statement and the subsequent, sort of back and forth that caused. We're going to talk about that later, right? That's the main event. We're going to get to that. But first, I think it's more important to talk about an idea, right? Probably one of the most pervasive contagions on the planet, an idea. It's permeable. You can't box it into our little places like we like to do with everything else in society. I can call you a Christian, I can call you a Muslim. I can call you a doctor, a janitor. I can box you into different boxes. But an idea is permeable, right? It goes from place to place to place to place. You can have as much as command over your life, your world as you think, but an idea once muttered swims past all that, swims past all the defenses. We're not such an enlightened species that we don't have control over our mental facilities that we say, oh no, I can block out this idea. If I tell you to think about tigers, you're thinking about tigers. There's no defense against that. And it seems innocent enough. It's suited us for such a long time. It's what allowed us to come from rubbing sticks together for heat, right, to where we are now, where you turn a key and there's a entirely complex combustion system happening in front of your car, in the middle of your car, in the back of your car, depending on the cost of said vehicle. It's an idea. That's how it starts. But today, we have the ability to have ideas that would never cross these different boundaries. I don't know what someone else in China is thinking, but I can. They just have to say it. They just have to vocalize it. The algorithm just has to pick it up and push it out. And then that idea becomes my idea. I may know that I didn't have the origin of it, but that doesn't really matter today. Just that it was uttered and just that it's out there. Now it's important. Now I can mix it and match it into my life and say, hey, that was a good idea. And I repeat it. I utter it. Now it's a game of telephone. An idea to an idea to an idea to an idea to an idea. And then I take that and I use it in my life and I say, this idea is now mine. It doesn't matter where it originated from. It doesn't matter that contextually it doesn't fit my life, but is now an idea. Now it's in the social consciousness. And now we all have to deal with that, right? This is essentially how ideas permeate and how we now deal with that in our larger society. The idea that Aisha Diaz put out is that, yeah, this is what I require, $45,000, $50,000. And what do we see from that? We see so many other people coming back and saying, okay, now it's simple. Now I don't see anything wrong with that because the idea made me feel good. And feeling good is all I really need. Feeling good is all I really care about when I have so little things to feel good about. That's just what it is. Now this idea becomes static. It becomes me. And now I'll defend that idea that I never really originated. So now what do you see? People popping up and saying, I don't see anything wrong with that. People that don't make $40,000, $50,000 in a year are saying, well, that's just what she wants. That's fine. We'll talk about it, right? So shout out to the moderators. Large Life. Yeah, you're new here. When you see people talking like that, just boot them. Right? We don't have to. We don't have the luxury of the time, or don't have the desire to kind of placate some people that just are on the interwebs, algorithms, internet, just to be nasty. We try to have more nuanced conversations here, right? We try to actually be welcoming of different ideas, but the internet is the internet, so we just kind of deal with that and we keep going. So for the people that are moderators, sometimes you might find some issues with when it comes down to commenting on shorts. For whatever reason, it's weird. But we just kind of sort of deal with that as we go. So besides that, we've got some show. Before I start that, I've got to say shout out to Blair. Right? I was feeling kind of down in the dumps about the progress of the channel, and that is a personal failing of my own. It's something that I constantly have to work on because I believe that effort should be rewarded, but now this is not the same scenario. But so he said, "Are we going to do a live tomorrow?" And ah, I don't know about that. And then I got a little pep talk. That's what your bros are for. That's what your family's for, right? They get you out of the dumps. They say, man, get back to work. So again, shout out to Blair. And Blair, this show's for you, right? Let's go. Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it, Nick. Yeah. This one is again. It was inspired by Blair. Say, yo, get it done. And we are gonna do it live, right? It was probably gonna be sometime later in the week, but Blair had to remind me.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Right. So we're just gonna keep plowing ahead. We're gonna do what we're gonna do, and we get better with each one. Right. That's the name of the game. Right. To get better with each one. So in terms of one of our favorite ones here, Love and Money, we have right now flooding the internet is about being a stay-at-home mom. And it wasn't like how it was back in the good old days, right? When they say those good old days, I often think of black and white sort of television, even though we know colorized television came in later at an earlier date than that. But the days when you could go door to door, right? Selling VCRs, selling stoves, and let this be the thing that allowed you to have a family of four, 2.5 kid, pets, right? Vacations, two cars and driveway. This is what we used to think of. It became then we got away from that. We said, nah, I want to have my own credit card. I want to be able to do my own thing. And we love that for women. We love that, right? We don't want to adhere and say you can't do what you want to do. That's fine. But stay at home mom made a comeback, and then it changed a little bit. And now you have the conversations about I not only need to be a stay at home mom, the labor that I do here needs to be properly compensated. But we all know that all stems from having conversations. You're supposed to talk about it, right? That is what the whole essence of being in a marriage is supposed to be about, right? But in reality, sometimes people take advantage and just to make that decision on their own.
So am I the a-hole for threatening my wife with a divorce after she quit her job to be a trad wife?
A stay-at-home mom.
Yes, basically. I don't even know where to begin with this. Me and my wife have 2 kids together, 11 and 9. Me and my wife have been together for 12 years and married for 8 years. Around a year ago, I noticed my wife increasingly sending me these trad wife or traditional housewife TikToks. I have nothing against the type of relationship, but I don't think it makes sense for our current family situation. I do earn quite a bit more than my wife and enough to sustain our family on my own, but I don't see the need to do so. I work 80% and my wife 50%. And besides Wednesdays, where the both of us are working, either one of us is always home for the kids. I could work 100% and let my wife be a stay at home mom again. Both of my kids are attending school, and in their mind, or in my mind, there is no need for my wife to be a stay at home mom 24/7. She got increasingly pushy about it over the past 2 months. And again, I just kept on telling her that there wasn't a need for her to be at home. And if we decided to go down that route, what would she be doing during the hours that my kids attended school? I know damn well our house doesn't need to be cleaned for 6 hours a day. She would constantly try to butter me up with, You would have dinner ready for you when you get home and the house would be clean, and something about unlimited attention time together. Again, in
Eyes.
the nicest way possible, I would remind her that our kids weren't toddlers and our current work life schedule allowed us to function properly just fine. We got into a pretty heated argument 2 weeks ago about it, and my wife completely stopped having sex with me to quote unquote show me what I would be missing out on. She's basically treating me like a roommate. I just thought she would get over it and this pass and that this would be a phase, but God, was I wrong? I came home from work yesterday and saw a bunch of presents on the dining table. At first, I thought the presents were for me since my birthday is in a week, but then I saw the labels that were addressed to my wife. I read one of the letters attached to the presents. The last sentence on it was literally, quote, "It was a pleasure working alongside you, and I wish you all the best moving forward." I thought it was a prank. A few minutes later, my wife just casually strolled into the living room, acting like nothing was wrong. I guess she saw that I was mad and had a mad expression and had the audacity to tell me, quote, "You'll get over it." And
You'll get over it. So it sounds like she just quit. We had the conversation and I made the unilateral decision. I no longer want to work. And again, where did this originate? If you that hasn't been a dynamic and it doesn't really make sense. The stay-at-home mother part, I think it's a heavy emphasis on the mother part. But if your kids are past that and don't need you as 24/7 guardian, then yeah, it's hard to understand that you can make that decision on your own. But I think that starts with an idea, right? You're on TikTok, you're scrolling, and you see something, and you're like, "Wow, I could use something like that. I would love to not have to get up and go to work. I would love to be catered to." What we see most of the time is just the presentation. We see how dope it looks. We see how amazing it would feel to be. But in reality, right? In reality, it's very different. But when you don't have that conversation with someone, with your significant other who's supposed to now fit the bill, what are we all supposed to think? Is that fair? Is that right? Is that okay? But this is how dangerous or how prevalent an idea that you simply, you've absorbed and you've selected. You said, okay, this makes sense to me. I've tried to share it with him. He says, no, that doesn't make any sense. But I don't care.
I just lost it. I left without saying another word and went to my parents' house. I feel absolutely disrespected. Why the hell would my wife think it was okay to just quit her job without telling me and just expect me to be fine with it? My wife has been bombarding me with texts and calls demanding to know where I am and that the kids miss me. I just told her to go find a lawyer and that I was done with her and then proceeded to block her on everything. My son just sent me a voicemail crying and asking why I was divorcing his mom and if I was leaving the family, and I guess that kind of broke my heart. I haven't responded and honestly don't know what to say. My mother in law also has been demanding that I return home and apologize to my wife. My parents also seem to be siding with my wife since they are also traditional Muslims and are stay-at-home moms. I feel like I feel like I'm wrong for immediately
Oh.
jumping to divorce without hearing her out. And besides this whole job drama, I love my wife too much for this to be the end of our otherwise perfect marriage. But on the other hand, I feel like I've lost complete trust in her. Should I just swallow my pride and let my wife be a stay at home wife from now on? Or should I follow through on the divorce? How should I navigate this situation?
So they're Muslim. That's an important caveat.
Well, yeah. So it sounds like his mom, yeah, he said my parents are also siding with
Yeah,
my wife since they are also
because
traditional Muslims.
yeah, in their culture,
Yeah,
yeah. If the husband can do it, then yeah,
yeah.
that's the culture.
It's You go ahead first. What are your thoughts about
Here's my
this?
thoughts.
I don't think that being Muslim makes any difference there. I don't think it makes any difference there. I think it's one of those things where, yes, you may have the framework for this. It may make sense in that sort of context. But the fact is that if you want to hold down to it being Muslim, you guys had a conversation and the man said no. And you just decided to do it. I don't think any type of religion makes that okay. That's not an excuse for that behavior. You just unilaterally decided, I'm not going to work. Okay, let's say he gives in. Let's say he decides, right, that I'm fine with this. I'm just going to keep going with this. Then what happens when the next conversation. The next decision needs to be made. He just goes along with it, and because she's going to make the decision for him. I want to buy this car. I want to take your money and buy this car. No, we don't need another car. Okay, you come back home and there's a Lamborghini there. Right? But you decided. This is not how actual functional relationships supposed to work outside of whatever sort of context you have in terms of whatever framework you want to use and say, oh, this is Muslim, this is Christian. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. Right? We're supposed to be able to communicate. We're supposed to be able to come to a decision together. You just don't get to decide what you want to do. Why now do I have to listen to what everyone else is telling me I should be doing? You guys aren't here. You don't live with it. You can blow up my phone as much as you want. I'm gonna tell you kick rocks. I'm gonna tell you take off your shoes first and then sort of kick rocks. The idea, right? Before that, listen, like, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, like smash the hell out of it. I'm just gonna someone keep reminding me to do that. One of the things that we hope is that as we get older, we get experience in dealing with the opposite sex. We understand more about women, more about men. So we don't find ourselves trying to compete with the younger version of ourselves. We don't want to be in a position where you were 50, 40, 50 years old as a woman trying to compete with your younger self, with the younger version of you, or especially when you're just trying to compete physically, you're always going to lose out on that. There's nothing you can do about that. It sucks, but it is what it is, right? That's the name of the game. But how you win is you understand men easier. You understand them, how to actually play them.
So let me get this shit straight. So you mean to tell me on our second, and we done met, but on our second encounter, you tell me, at lunch, at my job on lunch break around 12, you said, listen, just come by the house after you get off work. So I agreed to come by the house after I got off work. And, when I got to the house, you tell me, take off my boots and make myself comfortable. And I sit on the couch in front of a big ass TV and you pass me the remote and you said, I hope you hungry. And I said, that's fine. And then you go in that kitchen and you come back out with a damn plate of fucking fried cabbage with the sauces in them, red rice, fried pork chop, and macaroni on that motherfucker. Okay? And a big ass cup of red Kool-Aid with a lot of ice. And I fuck around and sit there and I eat that bitch. And that motherfucker been good. And then you turn around and after we finish eat, you give me a cup of yak and you twist up some crazy motherfucking broccoli. And we just sitting there. And we just the chief and just the sip. And then the conversation turned into something else. And somehow we end up in the bedroom. And you gave me some porno, some nasty, unprotected, slippery, pornographic type sex. You know what I'm saying? Some fool shit, some more turn your fucking tore up shit, right? After that. You know what I'm saying? So good. I done fuck around and bust one and go to sleep. And then I wake up to some more motherfucking pornographic head and breakfast.
Not and breakfast. And breakfast. Jesus.
And breakfast. Come to find out, you done washed the fucking work uniform and packed me a lunch. Then give me $100 and tell me, go get my hair cut and put some gas in the car?
Jesus.
Bitch, we go together. We go together now. Man, for the next 2 fucking weeks, I gotta be brave and threaten niggas and motherfucking answer the phone and check the door and get rid of all the people around you. Cause I gotta make sure nothing fuck up our relationship. I talking about relationship. We's in a ship, we sailing. You know what I'm saying? You just relation shitted me. You know what I'm saying? For real. Now I gotta get along with your churn and shit. Now I gotta let your motherfucking trifling ass brother come by the house and drink up all my beer.
There's a complaint, right? There's a complaint, but this is a simple idea, right? This is an idea. This is a theme here, right? It's an idea. It's when you understand, right? She completely understands the man. She completely understands the man that she's dealing with here, and it's not a difficult thing. There's not a lot of subtext. There's not a lot of ideation that you have to go through. You get it. You get it. This is what he needs, right? Made his life easier. Boom, he's hooked. He's completely hooked. He's outside his mind. He's hooked.
Now I gotta damn act like I like your scamming ass mama. Now I gotta find somebody, one of my homeboy who will take one for the team and bunkie your big ass ghetto sister. Because she talk about, you got a friend. You know what I'm saying? My homeboy's calling me. Tell my nigga, I'm going by your house. About 4 times, my man, nigga, I ain't see you in 2 months. Bitch, I ain't in a relationship. I ain't a motherfucking relationship now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't even live over there no more. I have to pay the rent on, but I don't live over there no more, man. It's been 2 months. And she just been doing these small things. But she been consistent. She consistent. I can't handle it. Nigga, I'm in a relationship. All I know is that I gained fucking 10 pounds. My skin not clear up. Nigga. And she don't know that if she try to leave me, I'm gonna stalk her. And I'm gonna end up murking her if she try to leave me. Nigga, I ain't in a relationship. I got relationship. You shitted me into a relationship. That's not what happened. For real. Oh my God. She put that shit on your ass, goddamn. Oh no, I ain't leaving. I ain't planning on leaving. Hell yeah, cause I'm in a relationship, nigga. I got relationship and I'm a relationship. Nigga, I told myself I was gonna give myself some time. I just got out one. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give myself some.
Again, this is really, he's giving away game. Right? This is just simple. You observe it, you see it. Yeah, it's just that simple for men. Right? You gave him exactly what he needed, and because you don't get that, we often don't get that outside in the wild. That type of ease, that type of relaxation. Yeah, you see the effect. You see him going crazy now. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. At all. But listen, this is the name of the game. As always, listen, like, subscribe, hit that like button when you're coming into the chat. It helps grow the channel. It's probably the most important thing for a new channel like this. We're growing. We're going to do the work. We're going to show up every time we can. So listen, the next one is our favorite game show, right? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Have you ever become sexually excited during a professional massage?
Yes. True.
That doesn't seem so bad, right? Right? That seems like that's a normal sort of reaction.
Too truthful. Do you believe a married woman should have sex with her husband even if she's not in the mood?
I do. True.
Of all of your husbands, do you think Larry is the most attractive?
No. True.
Could you deal with that? Right? Just the husbands. Right? Husbands to me sounds like more than 2. And more than 2 before Larry. But Larry already knew the answer to that. So that's not really terrible, is it?
Do you have any sexual fetishes that you have kept secret from your husband?
I can't take this. I can't take this.
That answer is yes.
All right. Before getting married to your husband, Larry, did you look through his bank statements without his knowledge?
My answer is yes. True.
Now that one, right? That one. I think, and this is the problem with an idea, right? When I'm going online, I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm searching for content and I'm searching for content. And then a pervasive sort of idea formed. And I don't know where I picked it up, right? Like a contagion. I don't know where I picked it up. But the idea right now in 2026 that love is a deciding factor for relationships, for marriages, I think that's out the window. Right? I think it's one of my life would be better, easier, maybe financially, so with you, so that is enough of a reason. And we don't like to shoot down people on their reasoning and what they decide to do. The whole thing is that I think men are sort of behind the eight ball on that. We're not thinking my life, and listen, I'm not saying all of us, right? I'm never going to paint myself as an expert here, but men aren't thinking the same way that my life is going to be easier financially with you. Maybe there's different types of ease, right? There's different accommodations. Maybe these guys are looking for someone that can help with things domestically, and there's ease in that. But financially, or even to go back to that point, we don't look at women and say, "Man, she'd really be dope mopping the floors." I don't say that. And we're still looking and still thinking about loftier, more romantic sort of ideas. But maybe it's time we update some of our playbooks and understanding that, sometimes it's about what's in that chase statement, how much that you can put together that she can say, well, this would be very helpful for my life.
9 truthful answers. Have you ever stashed any money away in case your marriage to Larry does not work out?
Yes.
Conspiracy.
True.
Would you have married Larry if he had no money?
Oh, man.
No.
There it is. There it is. I don't think we can keep denying that sometimes who you're getting with, right, is not getting with you for the very same reasons. Especially when we're being taught as men, sometimes you got to lead with your wallet, and maybe the lesson isn't so obvious that it's like that. Sometimes it's something as simple as she only likes him because he has a car. So inadvertently, we get the message. The idea is planted in our heads, and this is what we sort of end up leading with.
True.
If Larry Jr. was not your stepson, would you keep him on the company payroll?
No. True.
He's hurt by that one. I don't blame him. He's definitely hurt by that one.
Did you cheat on any of your ex-husbands?
Yes. True.
Wow.
I'm a very spiritual person, and I always listen to. I'm in tune to what's inside of me, and
Yes.
it's saying, "Take that money and go."
Wait, what? I'm a spiritual person, and I mean, yeah, take that money and run. I don't blame her. I think that the next set of questions would probably be the ones that determine the end of their relationship.
Debbie Nelson, you've won $200,000. I couldn't be happier for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Use it wisely.
Use it wisely part, right? You may have to give a path for that, but this is an opportunity for us to kind of walk around with our eyes wide open. We sometimes get excited as men. We get excited when women seem interested in us. We think, wow, this is my lucky day. I've done something right. It just, woe is, shout out to me. But you're thinking and you're listening to old world ideas that she is with you because she loves you just as much as you love her. It may, again, be what's on the Bank of America card. So we're going to move on. Subscribe to the channel, share the video, get more people into the stream. This is what we're here to do.
I'm probably gonna see a specialist. I I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. Got 100K on my.
So here we go. Our favorite segment, right? So like Larry is probably in for, right? We see so many different examples online of how divorces can go so left, and how the person that you married, took on a game show, is not the person who you end up divorcing. And sometimes it brings out the absolute worst in us.
I will move heaven and earth to take you down in this divorce if this is the you decide to play. You have 1 hour to deposit that money, or I swear to God, Vince, I'm calling the cops and telling them how unsafe I feel around you, and how mentally and emotionally you've been, and how you pushed me up against the wall in the bathroom my last day in that house, and I had to tell you to get off me 3 times. Do you want to be arrested in front of your kids, Vince? Because I can make that happen. Watch me.
Damn.
Who was that on that recording?
That was Leah, my wife.
Okay. And when did she tell you she was having an affair?
I found out, and she didn't tell me at first. She gave me papers on. She gave me the divorce papers on a Sunday. I found out on a Tuesday from my brother, and when I asked her, she did tell me she was having an affair. And then by that Saturday, she had moved.
Now, that's vicious, right? Just hearing that, and it gives you sort of like some chills when you're thinking about how this relationship probably started with an idea. When you saw her, she saw you, and you thought, wouldn't it be nice? Right? Like that song, wouldn't it be nice? And you moved on and said, hey, let me try. Let's sit here, let's talk, let's date, let's build this life together, let's have kids, let's make a life together. But it all starts with an idea. Like most of these things, the idea that we should be in relationships, like this is the goal of what we're supposed to be doing in the society. We're supposed to be in relationships. Whenever you tell someone that you're not dating, that you're not looking for anything, they look at you kind of weird, especially when women talk about, yeah, I don't want any kids. We look at them weird, like something must be wrong with you. But a lot of us are watching a lot of this data. We're looking at these videos. We're looking and saying, you can have a great thing going. And then there's an idea that comes in there, that intersects in there. Now you've got a situation, and it's not always just this what happens at the end of a relationship. It can happen before you guys even get married.
You think you know how to pick me up?
For sure, I can pick you up.
Yeah, let me see.
Oh, nice and light too.
What the f doing, bro? I told you, bro. No, what the f all the way back to Houston, bitch. No, but get your work.
Man, you don't worry about
Be doing
That's cold. That's cold. if people don't know who that was, I had to look it up. That's Blueface, and there was a 20B1, and she came there with her man, and she looked at that and said, "Here's an opportunity for me to upgrade," just like that, right? And sometimes, it's you can kind of have that expectation, right? Right? This is when you as a normal guy, you can't really compete with rappers. You can't compete with people in all players. Nah, this is not fair. But you don't have to be, right? You don't have to be Blueface or a rapper to lose out. Sometimes when we go out and we buy the drinks, we're sitting there, we're talking short, and we're getting a lot of buzz, we're getting a lot of feedback. We think we're getting some motion here, and then what happens? Hey, this time she actually leaves with a boyfriend. But in this case, in Blueface's case, listen, it was your turn. That's one of the things you got to remember. It was your turn. The game is cold, and it was your turn.
Thank you so much for the drinks. Yeah. My boyfriend is here, so I have to go.
Nasty drinks.
Okay. Does India buy you drinks all night?
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
See ya. Thank you.
Wow. Now listen. This is also part of the game. This is also part of the game. The boyfriend knew this is not the first time this has been the case. You've bought some women drinks, and you have to understand that doesn't entitle you to anything after that. She was polite, and we like to see we like to see how dedicated she was to her man. And was just like, no, my boyfriend said, I'm gonna get out of here. So shout out to them, but to men, I know what you hear online. I know the idea again that goes around online, and it tells you that you're supposed to go to bars, you're supposed to approach women, buy them drinks. Right? This is how you get the attention. This is what they're saying that they want. But just like the other idea that said, hey, that told men, don't leave us alone. When we're out, we don't want to be bothered. That all started from another idea. Not that it was something that intrinsic to them in their lives and saying that I don't want to be bothered by men, that they had these real group think conversations about it. No, you heard it, you absorbed it, and then you regurgitated it. So men, we're always on the back foot, and we're responding to how things are changing. We're responding to the new sort of dynamic, but we're reactionary, right? We're always the one that's getting the idea last and then trying to spin up and change the game, and it's not working. But for our last crash out video before we move on to agree disagree, that's something more a little lighthearted.
And that's cool.
I didn't ask her to do it.
But I mean, you let it happen. You didn't oppose against it or nothing. You let a bitch eat your ass.
She just did it.
While I'm at work. You got your legs up, get your ass ate. While I'm at work. Make sure we got money for rent.
Yeah.
You hear how that sound?
Definitely see how that sounds. You out there paying the bills. And what is he doing? He's acting like a bad bee, right? He's enjoying himself. He's getting his legs open up in the air. Shout out to my man. Right? Shout out to my man. Enjoying his life. Yeah, Marlon. What did he say? Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Again, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We're moving on. Agree to disagree. So for those of you new or just watching this on replay, shout out to Replay Gang. One of the things that I do that I actually can talk about here is I'm a landlord, right? I have a couple different rental properties, and one of the tenets that I like to I abide by is that I don't want to know you. Yeah, I don't want to know you. I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to be your friend. I've had opportunities to meet tenants, and I said absolutely not. I'm unavailable at all times, right? Yeah. Yeah. So this is just my personal philosophy because the things I've watched and how friends, when tenants become friends and friends expect favors, this sort of natural thing. But I've never had the opportunity to date one of my tenants. And if you were to engage in that, despite the blue movies and the corn that you watch and this happens, do you charge them? You charge them money once you engage in a relationship with them? Do you actually charge them money?
I know a guy, like, he bought a house, got a tenant in a woman, but she didn't know he's the landlord. Started dating her.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you can let her know she's paying you rent because she doesn't know he's the landlord.
And they're dating.
Yeah, they're dating.
Man, that's a con man right there. That's a con man.
Would you? Okay, you are a landlord.
Yeah.
3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
You get a tenant in. You fancy. You start dating. If she's paying you £800 a month for a room,
yeah,
are you going to tell her that I'm the landlord? It sounds good. Because £800, I tell you that.
Well, how long have I not told her for?
What?
It's been 6 months. I'm like, I can say I forgot.
No one's going to believe that. You forgot £800 a month for me.
If we get married, then I'll be like, surprise! We don't have to pay a mortgage because you paid it off already. But if she split up with me, I'd be like, are you sure there's no way we can reconnect and rekindle this relationship? She'd be like, no, it's absolutely no way. Are you positive now? Are you positive? No, I need to know you're sure. I need to know.
Then I'm getting back together.
No, you're not going to come back to me in a couple of months.
No. I don't
Okay, hand over the keys then.
No. Why am I handing? I'll give it to the landlord.
Well, he said leave them in an envelope. As soon as he hands over the keys, I get the keys.
There you go.
Thank you. You paid rent on the house for me. Thank you.
I own this.
I own this.
So that's an interesting. Would you tell someone, right, that you're moving in? Hey, I own this place, right? Yeah, I mean, I should be paying someone, right? Might as well pay me. But you know how that immediately changes the game. That immediately changes the tenor of the relationship because we have different ideas out here. Rather than us having a thought and saying, "Hey, what is this?" My sister just showed up. All right, yeah, right. She's late, but she made it. She missed some of our best sections. We're not going to hold it against her. Always glad to see my sister in the chat. All right, well, we'll stop the show when she shows up. So let's just give her a quick round of applause. Shout out to family, right? So yeah, do you go and you charge your significant other for rent? And there was a couple of weeks ago, a lot of buzz going around where a woman said, yeah, I moved my boyfriend in and I'm not charging him rent. And naturally, the internet had a lot to say about the quality of her relationship without knowing anything about her relationship. But what it comes down to, besides that, this is all a young man's sort of fantasy. When she comes to you, she can't pay the rent, and you say, well, there's different ways you can pay the rent. Right? We all thought about this. We all had envisioned this, but I think you tell her. I think you tell her and still understand that this is a business, and I've got to separate the two. I think it'd just be better not to get involved with that. That's probably the best thing you can do for yourself. But now on to a more serious, right? A more serious agree or disagree. When you indicate to a young woman or woman that you don't want kids, right? But you guys are having sex and you're going at it, right? You guys are doing all the things everywhere, right? But you're telling her, I don't want you to. Yeah, I know you're pregnant now, but I don't want you to have the baby. Should you still be liable for, child support? Should you still help raise that baby when she decides, I don't care what you said, I'm going to have this baby? Let's take a look.
I got 7 kids and 7 baby mamas. Now, for the past few days, I've been going live, telling my story, speaking my truth. And a lot of women having an issue calling me a deadbeat because I tell them I was being irresponsible, not wearing protection. But I always tell these women that I got pregnant that I do not want to be a father to these children. And I offer to pay for the abortion. Majority of times, they'll either take the abortion or they'll take a plan B. But only these 7 have kept these children. But the crazy thing about it is
when you say only 7, right? And we're not talking, right? We're not talking a respectable Final Fantasy 7. You said only 7. I don't think you can say that. I could say only 1, right? That makes sense, right? Right. Grammatically, it makes sense. Only 7 makes it seem like the other numbers of women that took you up on your abortion offer have to be dramatic, right? 20, 30, right? At that point, you could say only 7, right? Right. Only 7 kept the children. So therefore, but the other 49, right, they got rid of it. That's when only makes sense. And listen, I know it's semantics when it comes to words, but the idea behind this live stream is the importance of ideas.
Want me to be responsible for some children I told them I did not want. So for some years now, some of them been trying to get in contact with me, access denied, because I don't really know why you trying to get in contact with me. I done told you I did not want them kids. So don't expect me to be responsible financially, emotional, spiritually, mentally, or physically with some kids I do not want.
He's just like,
Why?
I don't understand why you would want to contact me. I told you I don't want them kids. Yeah, they have half my DNA. 7 of them. But since I said I don't want to have them, but I'm still gonna enjoy myself with you. Right? I'm still gonna do all that, and it's only 7.
And I don't give a fuck what nobody think about it. You're not gonna force children up on me. Yeah, we both made the decision to lay down and have intercourse. We both was irresponsible about the decisions we made that night. Yeah, I could have pulled out, but I didn't. And I ain't care to pull out because I'm not the one that gonna have to carry a baby for 9 months. It's the woman. In my opinion, women should be more careful on who they sleep with. Because you're going to be like, one of my baby mamas trying to find me so I can financially support a kid I done told her or them I did not want. Another thing is, these just jump offs. These the type of women that I ain't even had to do nothing for. The bare minimum, but they gave me access to their body and they think I want to be a father to a child for one of them? Like, I don't even have no type of love for these women. How do they expect me to love these children? Before y'all say, oh, he irresponsible, he a deadbeat, he don't take accountability. Yeah, I do. I just don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna force these children on me when I told you I ain't want them. Yeah, I can offer to pay for abortion, but at what point can I force a woman to go get an abortion? I cannot. A woman say, my body, my choice, but I say, it's my life, my choice. Before y'all try to stitch this shit and be like, black man this, black man that, I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
Jason, you gonna have to pay. I don't know what type of advice you think we got for you. You gonna have to pay, Playboy. You got 4 Lord. I don't know where you guys go to school, where you guys know this shit, right? But outside of you doing your best to be a dad, good luck. Listen, this is a simple agree disagree. I think there's a such thing as being strong and wrong. And there is only so much accountability that you can attempt to dodge. In this case, it's only 7. Oh, okay, cool. This is sort of the danger. You understand, right? You understand that it's not a fair system, right? In the sense that she can say, I'm still gonna have this kid, and then you're still responsible for that. It's not a fair system, but you went into this with this understanding. You went into this understanding. That child did not have a say in this, but that child is directly going to be affected by it. Yeah. Do your best to be, not as much of a deadbeat, right? Do just, do what, I don't want to say do what you can. Do the absolute best that you can. And also, yeah. If this is how you're feeling, and this would be a simple thing in the very beginning. If you're like, listen, I don't have the hip, my hip abductors, they're frozen. I cannot thrust in reverse. So I should probably just get a vasectomy. Full stop. I should just do that, get a vasectomy, and then I can do whatever I'm doing. Because eventually you're going to run into this decision. And think of how much money you would have saved on abortions, right? Think of how much money you would have saved pony up and kicking up for abortions. You gotta.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
You got to think, right? You got to think. This is one of those episodes where people put something online and they think that the rest of the world is going to think like them. It's like when you sometimes talk to people that have been incarcerated and they have this leaping logic of how to talk about this, to that, to that, to that. And it's because of this. And then, and you're looking like, none of that makes sense to me, dog. Like none of that makes any sense to me, and I don't care about a look of that. I don't care about any of that, how you came to any of those conclusions. We're just gonna leave that alone and say, I think we all naturally disagree with what this guy's got to say. But it's not like the reverse doesn't happen. It's not like you don't see episodes of women saying, nah, I'm gonna have this kid. I don't care that you use protection. I'm gonna have this kid.
I'm 40.
I'm 28.
Okay, so 12 years age difference.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm single, and I was interested, so I thought it couldn't hurt to get to know him. Where was the one night stand? At my house. So y'all were at your house? Yes, ma'am. And you all were intimate? Yes, we were. Did you use protection, Mr. Lightfoot?
Of course, I was always raised to use protection. Don't be a fool. Wrap your tool.
Don't
stand
be
by.
a fool. Wrap the tool?
Yeah.
I'ma remember that one, honey.
Yeah.
You have a one night stand where you use protection, and what happens?
He dozed off. I went ahead and took his condoms out of the trash, and I used a syringe and inserted his sperm inside of me. I looked it up online. I see how to do it. This is my property, man. You left it in my house. That's my property.
It's your so you're saying he left the condom, but it was in the trash, and you just took it upon yourself to say, well, you know what? If he left it behind, then it's mine.
Well,
see, I got sayings too.
And everybody that know me knows how bad I want a child. Okay, and my time is short.
So, right, it happens the other way around, right? She is 40, I think at least 40, and he's in his 20s. And you know, I learned my lesson from the last live we did, and we had questions about the follow-ups. So I looked that up, right? She yeah. No, she grabbed the sperm once he was sleeping and did what she had to do, and then she had a child, and then she was sort of going to him and saying, you've got to pony up. He was like, yeah, no, I want to know. They took a paternity test, and at first she was kind of ducking it, and she wouldn't allow him to do it. But they got it. Then they went to the court, and boom. Turns out, and she's admitting, and part of the whole thing is the judge was saying, like, you was hinting at it. It was like, this is wrong. You're not supposed to do something like this. She's a woman in STEM. Yeah. She said she looked it up, but she didn't look up that it was wrong. Her justification is that it's her property. He left it at her place. The judge even kind of admonishes him and says, like, you're supposed to probably dispose of that. Like, you've got to go above and beyond by saying, and this is the point, that there's no law on the book saying if you use contraceptive and you try to prevent pregnancy and then someone uses that in order to get pregnant, it doesn't absolve you of that there's a child here. So she was suing her for $3,500 for pain and suffering and therapy. So if no one's familiar with this court, it's paternity court. So turns out baby's not his at all. So again, I learned my lesson from the previous live, and people were like, I want to know what's happening here. Listen, yeah, it should be like, hey, you got to pay him $3,500, and we're going to take you to jail. We're going to take you over to criminal court, and then we're going to start that prosecution almost immediately. I hope you don't have anything to do for the next couple of months. But again, we understand that we don't. That's probably not something that the DA would prosecute. They would just look and say whatever. Unfortunately. This is the other side of the argument. This is when it's not just 7 kids by 7 different women, only 7. But again, if you're new here, like the stream. This really helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel. This is one of the best ways to get ourselves out there, to get more eyes on the channel. We're just trying to grow, trying to do our thing. But I think this is a simple one. We all disagree that we all can agree what she did was despicable. I mean, the guy's not even Drake. He's 20 years old, and Drake in the hot sauce. We all remember that. We're gonna keep it moving. All right, main event. Right, main event. We're gonna talk about it. Like, we've been hinting at the idea of ideas of how, I don't want to say just simply like it's a dangerous thing, but we want to focus on the permeability of ideas. Right? Charles Xavier and and Magneto, they had differences of opinion. They both wanted mutants to be safe, and one went about it in a way that was more reminiscent of Dr. King, and another one went about a way more Malcolm X. And then if you have any inkling of the two of them, you can guess which one was which. By Any Means Necessary, from the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and Xavier we all know and love in all his forms, when he's walking or not walking. But what they shared was an idea. That was it. Just an idea. You can go about it. different ways and in critically different ways. In this case, Aisha Diaz is just echoing a different idea, the same one that we've been talking about in these spaces for quite a long time. If you require me to do anything, right, I need to be sat down. And there is a cost to what I make, what I purport to make. And there's what I need in order for me to stop this. You are asking me to stop working. In order for that to happen, I need to be compensated for what I would have made. This is a very common idea. This is a very common trope, right? Again, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like the stream. Best thing you do for the channel. And I didn't post the merch, but this is a very common idea. This is a very, very, very simple idea that goes back and forth. That in order for me to not work, that I need to be compensated for. Her point of view is that it simply changes because I make more money. In order for me to be sat down, I need to make sure that this money makes sense. And in her case, and we'll review some of her words later, where she says that it's got to be at least double because not only do I have expenses and bills of this amount, that I also need money for savings to put away for this or that. Says that some people it's 2,000, some people it's 25, some people it's 40. And the only reason that we are listening to this sort of important conversation is because we have identified that the features she has are desirable. There's going to be a large subset of this sit there and say, absolutely not. I think the majority of people are looking at that and say, absolutely not. $50,000 a month is $600,000 a year. One of the pushbacks that men often give is, have you gotten this before? Because Bow Wow, who she used to be involved with, says, absolutely not. It was free. When you're in the know, when you grew up in New York, best city on the planet, and you see Aisha Diaz, you see that it's not something that outside of Dr. Miami in these exaggerated sort of proportions, when you actually get a chance to listen to what she's saying, they don't really seem to be in line with someone that's paying 45 to 50,000. If this was a thing, if this was an idea that had any merit, that had any type of say-so, wouldn't it have already persisted? Wouldn't you have already seen it in the wild? Wouldn't you already commanded this? But if this is something that is simply an idea, then no. This is a lofty idea that you're putting out there in hopes that someone understands that. My contention, my issue, is that how that idea goes from some person, one individual, and actually goes to the next. It filters down to us regular people. And we realize that our air filter is completely filled. It's trashy. It's filled with soot, dust. Therefore, it's not actually filtering anything else. We don't look and say, okay, Aisha Diaz looks like this. She is in this type of nightlife. She's in vogue in these spaces where people perhaps will see that and say, sure. That's what the idea wants us to believe. The reality of it is very different. The reality says, no, you don't get that. You're happy to be in some of these people's presence. You're happy to be in this person's music video or around them wherever they go. There probably isn't anyone that's being paid that. She simply said, these are my expenses. Expenses are what you've decided, what you've created for yourself. You can go out and have debt out the ass, and then these are your expenses. Now to thrust it upon someone else and say, remember, we can't reverse thrust, to say that you are now responsible for that. You now need to make this happen for me. You need now to be the one that fixes it. This is what a lot of people, a lot of men end up pushing back and say, wait a second. Now the hope is always that, whenever these things actually start to go viral, that you have someone on that interview that pushes back with it immediately instead of us having to make these think pieces later on. But let's hear what she actually had to say.
What do you expect on a monthly basis from financially?
From him?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm spoiled.
No, as soon as they said that's sports, it's gonna be a ticket. Go ahead.
What's that mean? Just
what's that range?
Because it's good insight. Because we just have these hypothetical conversations all the time. But just somebody you're like in the top 1% of girls that's actually you're exposed to that life, right? Like so. Yeah. What is you're saying you're spoiled? What does that mean?
Spoiled means I need you to be able to keep up with my lifestyle if you want to be with me.
What does that mean?
Ladies, take notes. Take notes because they don't work on the simp. I have a lifestyle I expect to keep.
Myself, you should be able to do it for me too. And if I can't depend on you to be able to handle what I have on my plate, then there's no reason for me and me and you to be together, because that means you're gonna hold me back, and I mean I'm gonna have to be looking out after you.
What about love?
What does that mean? Financially, what does that mean though? What does that mean?
Hear that part? What about love? We best do ourselves a favor and excise that from from the vernacular. This is not what we're in for. This is a business thing, right? It's a business deal.
What does that mean on a monthly? What does that mean? Roughly.
Numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like 45, 50.
$50,000 a month. So you need $50,000 a month.
What is true? I can give you the paperwork right now.
No, I'm not saying that you're not getting it. But hold on, you got a contract?
Listen.
You signed contract? They sign contracts?
But listen, if you allow me, let's say my partner doesn't allow me to work, I am going to look at you and say, are you paying all my bills? Because in order for me to sit down, somebody have to pay all my bills. And not just my bills. I need extra money, because you can't give me my bill money and then I'm left with nothing. Yeah, I need money to save too.
You're flat. Yep.
And that's honestly, that's what really becomes expensive, because my bills alone are already really high.
Yeah.
So I need a little bit more, not just for hair and nails and stuff, but I need a little bit more because I need to be able to save, and I need a backup. Because after we break up or anything happens in between me and you, I need security. And so I can find not another job, but you know what I mean? So I can get back into what I used to do before. I don't require my man to do it. Do I expect it? Yes. Mm-hmm. Does he have to? No. But you can't ask me not to work if you're not willing to handle and take care of all my bills. And plus.
When you say paperwork, what were you referring to? You have a contract that you make them sign?
No, meaning like I can show you guys how high my bills are. Yeah. It sounds like a really crazy number, honestly, but it's not just my house where I live at. I have other properties. They got to get paid. Sometimes they need a new air conditioner, a new boiler, a filter. And I consider those bills because no matter what, I have to pay for them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you pay my house here, but how about my responsibility everywhere else? Mm-hmm. When they come, I have to make sure you're okay with handling that too.
Yeah, because I gotta buy boilers every month, right? Every month I buy a new boiler, right? Or I pay for a new roof every month on my other properties. It's just it's a ridiculous notion when you actually push back and challenge some of this. But one of the big problems, big problems we don't as men, and I'll put this on men, where we fall short is you see a pretty face and then you lose brain cells. You lose brain cells, or your blood starts rushing somewhere else, and you stop thinking that I shouldn't push back and challenge on some of these things. You've got paperwork that you can show that your expenses. I'm going to look at you and say, this is why you always be sort of spinning your wheels and be poor. You should not have expenses that are in the $45,000 to $50,000 range, or even something half of that. That shows that you're living on you're basically living on borrowed time, because as you're trading on your looks. And there's always someone newer. There's always someone younger that's going to take the shining idea. Also, one of the biggest issues is you don't understand market forces, right? You don't understand basic economics. You can outprice yourself. Where people are just saying, okay, if that's what I need in order to truck with you, then I'm not paying that at all. There's another Aisha Diaz. There's another half Dominican or full Dominican somewhere else in New York. I can get that somewhere else. That's where people who actually understand business are saying, okay, how unique is this product? Outside of, and you lose a lot of uniqueness when you've gone under the knife. And there's been lipo, when there's been BBLs, you become common, because now even for the price of having you for a month, I could build you. I can literally just simply build you. This is what we don't understand when we put stuff out there. We make it sound good, right? We make it sounds really good. It sounds, oh yeah, no, this makes sense, and she'll do another job of making it make a little more sense.
Well, also, like I said, I mean, I know you, so I know you're not just saying that. Like you've actually, real shit, this is real for you. My question is, what does the man get for that investment? If I'm investing $50,000 a month into you, right? What do I get out of that?
I'm not asking you to invest.
No. I'm just saying. Just like.
I mean, whatever he wants. If you're asking me not to work,
so
there you go.
The benefit is that you're not working. That's the benefit that I get.
I mean, the benefit, I'm not working. I'm home. I'm being peaceful. I'm making sure everything's good at the house. I'm cleaning. I'm cooking. And, whatever you require.
Okay.
I'm a pleaser, so I'm going to make sure my man gets whatever he wants. But at the same time, you have to make sure I'm happy. And if you ask me certain things of me, you got to make sure that you can back it up and take care of that too.
And truth be told, most men are doing this at some level, whether it's
it doesn't have to be that number, but you have to. You can't ask your wife to not work and just sit home and do, absolutely nothing. And then when she asks you for something simple as, hey, can I have some money for my hair and nails? You're tripping.
Fellas, I never want to hear that investing in the market is too expensive or stock club too expensive. Because if you got to give up 50 off top, I want to shit out of you.
Listen, when you frame it that way, when you make it, you link the 40, 50 and all these other expenses to something as simple as a stay-at-home wife wanting her nails done. These are not true equivalencies. You're just capping. You try to make what you're saying make sense. No, you want someone to subsidize your life. The life you built, the life that you built that has these expenses, however you erroneously tally them, because you're not buying a boiler every month. That's CapEx. That's probably every 15, 20 year expense. But I'm responsible for having money set aside. No. Again, that's a little more in the weeds of something like this, but yes. No. For those of you who don't know this is my sister, and this is one of her lock screen photos. She did not take it, but she has co-opted it, and we don't fight that. So she's got another segment where she wanted to clarify where when people started pushing back and saying, men started looking at it and saying, no. And it was especially Bow Wow, her former boo, said, nah, it was free. Right? If Bow Wow got it for free, and he probably could, at one point in time, afford to pay that erroneous sort of price, with the rest of us, right? There's us normal Joes who can't set aside $600,000 a year to have Aisha Diaz sit at home and do absolutely nothing for us. One of the pushbacks we hear a lot of times about stay-at-home mothers is saying, well, what would it cost if you were to hire this out, the work that I do, the labor, if you were to hire all this out, it would cost you $150,000, $175,000. Okay. Right? They're saying like chauffeur, cook, escort, all these things, right? You put all these things together, and they're saying that it would be sub 200,000. Aisha Diaz is saying, I'll give you it for 600,000. So even if we were going to go that route, what is it that I'm getting from you that is worth setting you down and paying your expenses, and then some, and making sure that you can still thrive while you're chilling at home? Most of us are looking this and we're understanding how foolish this is. The issue at hand is when it permeates down like the idea does to us regular folk. And then people are pushing back and saying, if that's what she wants, it's fine. Okay. But when you play that out on a larger sort of scale, what happens? You find yourself alone. You find yourself isolating yourself from an idea that was never yours. An idea you accepted from someone that has a lifestyle that is so far removed from yours. You're closer to your grandmother and her ideals and her lifestyle than you are to Aisha Diaz. This is not for you. You still have too many morals to allow yourself to engage in some of the stuff that is required for this. But you adopted what she said and said, that makes sense. Let me now put the same sort of figure on my life for someone else.
What we find normal, the nighttime girls, might not be normal for you. For us, it's regular seeing $50,000, $60,000. Now for you, might be $2,000, $5,000, or maybe you see that type of money in a year. The tax bracket that I'm on, it's not for everybody. My bills, not everybody has those bills. And I know people, girls actually, that have bigger bills than me. So if their man required them to sit down, I think that it's only fair to get double. What am I gonna do if you pay my bills and my bills only? Where's my emergency money? What if something happens to you? Regardless of the number, if it's 50, 20, 10, if you want your girl to stop working, you need to give her double her bills. Emergency happens. You guys want to get up and leave. and leave us with nothing. And here we are jobless, haven't worked in years, and we have to start from scratch. Oh, you should have some money saved up. Okay, how am I gonna have money saved up if you only give me enough just to pay the bills?
So here's the idea. Here's the solution. Here's where we go with it. You got to get rid of the stay-at-home mom idea then. You got to work, right? You got to work so you can have yours. You can have yours and maintain whatever you need, right? This way, we both understand what's going on, right?
Hello, I like money.
We both do. We're both on that time. We want the money. When it comes down to, I'm not staying at home so because I love you and I love what we can build as children and I want to support you in this way. No. If I'm staying at home, I need to be paid to stay at home. Well, okay. How about we just live together, couple up, and do what we can when you're going to work, and we can have some sort of joint account where we both put money into this, and then we can do whatever. The problem with that idea is now it matters what you do, right? Because Aisha Diaz is a treat, is a tasteful idea outside of the nightlife, outside of being exposed to the rappers and the players and the entertainers. Having someone that looks like that at home just for you, that sounds good, right?
It sounds good.
But in reality, when you have to take Aisha Diaz the package, you have to take everything that comes with that, and that's when it doesn't seem so appealing. That's when you take just that environment, that lifestyle, the nightlife. You take that and understand how many people are going to be around her, what she has to do to get her money, how she has to expose herself, how the rest of the world gets to see her for whatever the charge of her OnlyFans is. And Joe Budden went on and checked it. He said it was quite mid. Right? He saved us the trouble. Shout out to Joe. When you look at this as a package, then you start to see 45, 50. No. Even if you had that money aside, $600,000 a year, 1.2 million in 2 years. How long do you think that relationship is going to last, and how much did it cost you to statistically, pay for something that was going to end in short order? I get what she's saying, that if you want me not to work, she's not saying that this makes sense. Like I don't have to not work. I have no problem working. It's just you're probably not going to be secure with what I have to do to make my money. How I have to expose myself, how the world gets to see what I am, who I am, in all parts of me. You probably don't want that. And so this is the price. Double what my expenses are. Just because I need to know that even me staying at home, no longer having to work, there's no value in that for me. This is the quintessential problem that gets passed down that doesn't really get talked about. If you get to stay home, there's value in that. There's a monetary value in you not having to subject yourself to the rat race, to the rigmarole of going to work, of getting up, of being beholden to a schedule that another person, an entity, a legacy, a job has set for you. You get to take your time. You get to breathe. You don't have to deal with those stresses that end up being the things that culminate in a shorter lifespan. But we don't put value in that because it's something that, in that case, a man would allow you to do. I would be, remiss if I didn't say that we should probably look at what happens in sort of lesbian relationships. Is there the same sort of, provision, sort of requirement? Or is there more grace sort of available there? But when it's up to a man to have to pay in order to sit you down, you don't see the value in that. You just see it as this is what you're supposed to do. It's easy to stuff things under that envelope, that umbrella. You're supposed to do it. If you're supposed to do it, I don't have to give you credit for doing it. It just becomes another degular thing that happens. We keep it pushing, we keep it moving. We think it's regular, we think it's degular. The truth is, if someone was able to do these things for you, pay that amount, he wouldn't be paying for an Aisha Diaz, right? He would be paying for whatever it is that he wanted to get, the cream of the crop, everything that he wanted in a person. And that person probably would not have ties to the nightlife, the bartending, an OF. When we come down to our reality, right? When we're looking at, we're street level heroes, right? You don't send Wolverine to go fight Galactus. No, I got to fight these guys down here. Right? I'm Daredevil, Spider-Man. I'm dealing with some of these regular threats. Right? Punisher, street level stuff. Down here, when the idea of the Infinity Gems comes tumbling down and someone thinks, I can get my hand on that. No. these aren't your issues. These aren't your thoughts. These aren't the things you need to worry about. But now you start talking about, but if I had a reality stone, this is what I would do. And I'm now beholden to address you with that. I have to figure out, and I have to talk to you in what amounts to being actually at a delusion, right? I've got to look and deal with this as this delusion. I've got to talk to you about something that will never, never happen to you. It's not your concern, but I've got to address it because you adopt this idea from someone else. You heard it, the grapevine, someone else said it. It wasn't even Cerebro. It wasn't even First X that said, you need to talk about this. You just heard it. And now the rest of us in the regular world, right? We have to deal with it. I just was busy trying to fight Sabretooth. Now I got to worry about, Power Stone, these gems, Thanos coming. And these are things that are bigger than us. But an idea is permeable. It goes wherever it wants to whomever is listening. And then you have to sit there and deal with that. So in the following months, maybe years, when women are now setting their price to say, I need $8,000, $10,000 to be a stay-at-home mom, to be a stay-at-home girlfriend. And we, as a regular Douglas, have to look and say, it's no longer enough that you have to make $100,000. You need to make 3, 4, 5 in order to get what was regular Douglas, which it should be regular Douglas, because an idea turned to a delusion and the delusion turns to a forced reality. We're kind of stuck dealing with that. So listen, as always, for you guys that showed up to the stream, I appreciate you guys. It means the world of difference.